Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Swing Introduction course. In part 1 we covered the setup, the environment, how to use NetBeans to a very basic level but enough to get you going, and also explained some history background on Swing, some of its origins, and hopefully you've had a chance to download and look at the handouts and consider the extra information that's in there. Part 2 will also have a downloadable handout, so I recommend you do look at that. That it will give you a chance to digest at your speed rather than at the speed of the video. In this section, what we're going to do is we're going to do a good old hello world again, but this time we're going to do it actually in a frame, a window, and actually as a GUI. So this is where we really start getting into GUI programming. We're going to explain the components that make up a GUI program. All of those GUIs share a lot in common in terms of principles. They have concepts, they give them different names and they dress them up in different ways, but at conceptual level they're very, very similar. They're event driven, which means something happens, it triggers something else to happen. In Java Swing there's a message loop and so on. So we're going to look a little bit at that, explain a little bit more about event handling, how to trigger an event and how to capture it if you want to capture it, or if you want to ignore that event and let a different object capture and handle that event. Also, we'll look at the hierarchical structure. GUIs are very hierarchical and they're based around a concept of a container of some kind. And it's, I think I'm correct in saying, all components of a GUI have somewhere in their depths a container type class of some description, because each one can contain something else. So a frame can contain a menu can contain a menu item, a frame can contain a canvas, for example. A button can contain a label, another example. So it's all based around something being inside something else. And Swing uses a method of laying out the display, which is, I like. It takes a bit of getting used to. I first encountered it in Motif. I don't know if it was in RawX because I only ever used Xmotif together. In that everything is relative to each other and they use layouts, and those layouts determine how objects are placed on the display. And Swing is no different. It uses that principle. So as you resize a display or change the shape of a frame, everything moves and adjusts accordingly. My memory of MFC, and maybe there were other ways of doing it, but I didn't know them. Everything was sort of fixed. It was very much an absolute. You position this here, you make it this size. That's it. If the window changes, well, you have to do something yourself to make things change, not the system does it for you. Introduction to what we're aiming to cover in this section of the course. Hope you enjoy it. I've put a lot of work into trying to work out not only just telling you what to do, but also trying to explain the ideas behind it, principles behind it, so that you know why you are doing it. And so that's, from my point of view as the person writing the course and also delivering the course, that's something I've tried to keep to the forefront. I don't want just another course where you sit there and I say, type this, copy what I'm typing. You see, it works. I don't want that. I'm hoping for you to get an in-depth understanding. Enjoy the module and enjoy this section of the module, and I'll check in throughout the module giving various voiceovers. Thanks for your time. Have fun. So what exactly are we going to need for a very simple hello world? We're going to need a frame. We're going to need some form of method to exit the program. We're going to actually need the text, hello world. And we're going to need a canvas to put it on. So these are the basic parts that we're going to need. The frame is going to contain the exit button. It's also going to contain some form of canvas, or it's not actually a canvas. A canvas is normally used for drawing graphics, but a container which can display something. That's going to contain a label, and the label will then have our text inside it. So coming up is a video clip. I've tried to go as slow as I possibly can. We're creating our new project. And there you see a nice clean project for us to use. Just going to tidy up a bit that we don't need for the purposes of what we're trying to do. That'll make it easier to read. First of all, we need to import some things. Again, for taking this course, you should already understand the concept of importing things into a Java piece of code. And we're going to import swing and AWT. As you can see, NetBeans makes suggestions for us as we go along. So the first thing we're going to do now is we need to create a frame which we're going to use. Think of that as the main border or the top level window of our application. I'm sure you don't really want to sit and watch me type everything, so I'm going to do a bit of a cut here and fast forward. You can look at the text in the handout and download for a copy of the code here, and you'll be able to see as we get closer to an end exactly what code we end up with. Okay, so here you go, we've picked it up now, and you can see the program is almost complete. Whilst you're waiting for me to finish typing in that last command, just take a look at the code that I've put in during the edit. Or of course, as I said, the code is actually in the downloadable document or the handouts. There we go, we're running it, and as you can see, we now end up with a frame. It's got its title bar, it's got the normal exit button at the top, in this case top right hand corner. If you're doing this on a Mac, I suspect it will be in the top left hand corner. And that's it for this section of the course. Just give you a little while longer to take a quick look. And so we move on. As I keep saying throughout, please use the accompanying material. It contains, or the course notes, or in the description, however you get it. Replay various bits of the video until you're comfortable that you understand what we've done in this course, and more importantly, why it works. And then move on to the next part of the course. I hope you've enjoyed it, found it informative, useful, and look forward to seeing you on the next part. Thanks for your time, take care, and bye-bye.